Okay, so as I was saying, they're all private, they're not public until you make them public. And there's also lots of other settings for each learning object that you might need to change or you might want to investigate. So I'm going to select this one, and once I've selected it, the properties button becomes enabled. And if I click properties, and just drag that down into the screen, we see that we've got some tabs on the left hand side, and each one of those tabs have different settings. So the first thing you want to do with every learning object that you want to make public is to come down to the Access tab, and you'll see, oh actually whose is this? You cheated, you knew this already. Okay, so I'm going to switch to another one that hasn't been made public. It's going to take me 3 attempts to find one that isn't public. Okay, so you can see it says up the top, this file is currently set to private. So I can make it public and click save. I've also got the ability to password protect it, so that if I wanted to, I could send individual people a link and give them a password, and only those people could. But we're not, we're in a care and sharing community. We want to share everything, so we're just going to make it public like that.
Can I just ask, if you keep it private and just to let certain people go in the password,
yeah,
can you use copyrighted material?
You want the legal answer? No, you shouldn't really be using non-copyrighted material. Going back to my presentation at the beginning of the day, I did a search for an image that represented I don't want my picture taken. I found one on Google, but it had restrictions. You can do a search on Google Images, and under the Advanced tab select labelled for reuse. If you select that and you find an image you want, you can use that and it's not a problem. But the one I found, so my solution was I'll drag my wife away from the TV and take my own. So there's that.
So when you do the search, you have to put in the search.
Go to the Advanced tab and select labelled for reuse, and there's a number of other categories. There's a growing kind of focus on what's referred to as Creative Commons, and Creative Commons is basically you're willing to share, but then there's different categories. So it might be labelled for reuse, then there's labelled for reuse and modification, labelled for reuse and commercial use. So there's a number of different things, but you can search and find resources that way. But no, I wouldn't condone making use of, even if it's hidden behind. But of course, the reality is that everyone does it. But, well, not me. I don't do it. I'm sure we don't do it in this room either. So I've made that public. So if I switch back to the project button now, I've got 2 options, and I know some of the group have played with this already. This option here is where you just copy that link, and wherever you want to put it, blog, Moodle, another VLE, you can just link to it and it will just fire up that learning object. So if I click it now, it will load that up. It's undefined probably because that's not got any content in it, but it's a public link basically that you can use. And I know 1 or 2 people have also explored the embed code. So if I copy that, and for instance in a Moodle label, I can just paste that code and then the learning object will appear in my Moodle course page, or anywhere where you can paste HTML code. And we'll have an example of that later. The other quick thing to say, and a few people were asking about the difference between having this online or using the local tool. Well, the real power in Xerte online toolkits, as opposed to Xerte, the Windows application, is that it's not just an authoring tool, it's a repository at the same time. And it's a repository not for just sharing, or not just for consuming those learning objects, so we just made it public, anyone can see that. But actually, you can also share development of something with colleagues or learners. So if I come to the sharing tab here, and I'm logged in with the account you've all used, so if I put Ron in that, I can click that and instantly I'll have access to that learning object to be able to edit it. So you could do that with students, you could do it with colleagues. You can also give a copy of the project. So if I, again, select the tab for give, I can give that to someone else that's got an account on the system. They've instantly got a copy of that. Now, if you think the power of that and this notion of learning design if you've over a period of time, you're a